it's 5 o'clock and it's time for the local law enforcement hour. This is your sheriff, John Myers, and our technical advisor, Maddie Hyde.
Hey, sir, how about you shut it for a second? We're already live.
So kick back and stay tuned and enjoy the show.
Wait, before we get started, Blake, go ahead and say that speech you have to give.
Yes, I just want to get that disclaimer out of the way.
I love it.
City employee, you know how it is. The opinions and views that I may share today are those of my own. They may or may not reflect the opinions and views of the city of Lawrenceburg and the Lawrenceburg Police Department.
Why do you find why is that so entertaining?
Why,
Maddie?
is that funny? Because it sure wasn't when I got told I had to say
You've
that.
done a great job. You've done a great job.
So now let's talk.
Hello.
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 Hello, hello.
Check one, check one.
Are we live?
Yeah. I mean, as far as I know, we are.
We were right in the middle of a conversation about Shelton's hair. When was that picture taken, Shelton?
Probably 02, 03.
I don't know if I've ever seen
You
it
got
with
it.
hair.
Have you seen it? You need
No,
to show it
I
to him.
haven't.
He had hair in 02 and 03. I was kind of impressed.
There was some hair there.
Everybody knows Shelton Barney. We don't even have to introduce
You don't
him.
even have to introduce Shelton.
Yeah.
So there was bad weather, and we were in Dad's pool the other day, and Shelton doesn't live that far from Dad, and we heard a little bit of thunder, and we were just thinking it might be like one of those pop-up, like, you know, where it's just thunder. And Dad's like, I think they had a weather meeting today. I wonder what's going to happen. So I started yelling Shelton from the backyard. I said, if he's outside, he'll hear me, and he'll come over here and tell me what's going on.
give you the weather briefing in person.
I said, we can find that out real quick. Dad said, is he standing out there? Quit. And I was like, if he was, he'd come over here.
Captain,
Sheriff?
you're being awful quiet over there. You come in on two wheels like 2 minutes before the show started.
Well, I had to...
Was you off today?
Well, yes and no. We're still putting in steps down there at the farm, leading down to the creek, and one or two things is happening. Either my wife really wants them steps, or she's really trying to kill me. Because
You work harder on your days off like I do?
yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I don't want the fine people of Lawrenceburg to think that I don't give them a good day's work.
Well, it's a different kind of work.
It is.
I tell people all the time, you know, this isn't the most physically demanding job.
Right.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be. There's days when it's very physically demanding. I mean, if you're in a chase or you got bad weather or I could go on and on about all the reasons why it's physically demanding, but it's not as consistent
Right.
as, say, working on a bridge crew or
You don't have
pouring
the same day
concrete
over and over.
or laying brick or building steps down at the creek or something like
So
that.
I had to wake up at 8 this morning. No, excuse me. I woke up at 6:30 this morning. I was spreading,
I was like, what now?
had
You
to
woke
wake
up at
at
what
the
time?
crack of
I
eight.
was spreading mulch by 8 this morning. So after I got about 15 yards of mulch spread, that's when I loaded up and we went down to the farm. But you know, going back to police, and I had an old timer cop tell me when I first got started that I need to understand that I'm not paid for we're not paid for what we do. We're paid for what we're subject to do. So don't be griping.
Well, now that's real similar to what I say, and I tell people now I don't get paid for what I do. I get paid for what I know.
Oh,
What about that, Sheldon?
What
What about that? You can use that.
Just
You
got
can
it.
use that.
Goodness.
Feel free to use that.
alrighty.
Well, I was yesterday. Well, talking about physically demanding, I left a lunch that I got invited to, and I didn't forget about another lunch where I was a guest speaker at the Brass Lantern for the Kiwanis Club.
Oh.
But it kind of slipped my mind. I didn't totally forget about it, but it was back there somewhere. I didn't know it.
So one of them 20-minute late forgot about it?
No.
or didn't even show
Luckily,
up?
people know me enough to know to send me a courtesy text right around the time I'm supposed to be there.
Yes.
So
Always.
Anyway,
It wasn't me that sent him the courtesy text of the reminder of that, but I do remind him of things
there's
often.
nothing wrong with a courtesy text, and I got a couple yesterday. But anyway, we were leaving the lunch that I got invited to, and I looked at my phone, and I'm like, guys, we got a
lunch.
Well, I was with a couple other guys, and I was driving. We were in my vehicle, so we hauled butt across town to get to that one, and I just bailed out in the parking lot, and I said, y'all can go back to the station, come pick me up in an hour. But it was good. I got there in plenty of time, and I was a guest speaker for the Kiwanis Club. I don't know if y'all have ever spoken in front of the Kiwanis Club. Just a great group of people. It's a great club to be a part of, and they do a lot for the community, and it's just a real solid bunch of people. And so I went there and kind of updated them on what's going on with the sheriff's department. I always try to tell people what we're doing and what we've been doing and what we're going to do, and just kind of give them the 411. And then I left there, and then I had to be at a meeting with the judge and some other people about some opioid federal funding money that came down that we're going to be using on some stuff. And then I left there and headed straight out to the West End Community Club, where I was a guest speaker. And the best part about, well, I shouldn't say the best part, one of the best parts about the West End Community Club is the food.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have a potluck before the community club meeting. And, man, that's some good stuff.
It is.
So anyway, I ate good, and then I kind of done the same thing with them that I did with the Kiwanis Club. Just kind of brought them up to speed. And they're another really good community club in the county. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the community clubs, but they do a lot for the county. And they're even, you spoke out there last month, and tell the listeners what we're thinking about, what you and Brandon Taylor, the president of the community club, are thinking about doing.
First of all, who's you? Hi, Shelton. Hi, Shelton.
He said he didn't
I
need
said
an
I didn't even have to
introduction.
introduce. There's no
Everybody knows who
introductions
Shelton
for
is.
Shelton.
Well, we
If
may
they
have some
don't.
new listeners.
Shelton Barnett, what's your title?
What's your title?
Give us
Emergency management.
social security number, date of birth,
Credit card number?
DD
Here, let me
214.
write that down.
BR 2549. Yeah, no, West End is actually going to be the pilot program of what I'm trying to roll out in community clubs, where we're putting the community back into the clubs. Literally where they're starting to take care of their own people in that community. Brendan has been super about seeing what that I was saying, and then he's got the whole community club that's bought into the taking care of our neighbors. And I still the verbiage from Tyler McDowell, neighbors taking care of neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
You look on his rides, that's what's there. So we're trying to do some what in emergency management lingo is a pod, a point of distribution, where when something happens, I can use that community club as that point of distribution. Between the fire halls and community clubs, everybody knows where those things are at.
Yeah.
And on a lot of places, they're just like that. They're right there together or in the same building. So that works really, really well for us on the emergency management side to be able to get things out. Very similar to what was going on back when the cold weather was here. We lost some of the water because the people that were running a drip that was about the size of your finger, constant stream, put it overtaxing on the system, so we had to distribute some water. Had the Lawrenceburg utility system have came to that point, that would have been the point of distribution for that end of the county, because they're ready.
Right. In that area, I think we all know that Deerfield, West End area, every tornado that comes through Lawrence County, with the exception of the one that went through Iron City, it seems to come through the Deerfield,
right out
West
there.
End
I mean,
area.
it's
just flat, and it's like they pick up speed out there.
Yeah, it's just crazy, the stuff that goes, which, and I love the fact that they're actually working towards trying to improve their community as far as getting back to what a community used to be,
So how much?
pride in their neighbors.
So how much effort is this going to take? So they're at the fire hall. Like, are the volunteer firefighters going to have this responsibility, or is it certain citizens in that community that will have the responsibility of
It's
this?
going to be
how does
the
that work?
citizens that's going to be working together. Literally, and it can be as simple as, grandma's down the road right there. We hadn't seen her today. Let's run down there and check on her. And then when the bad weather stuff happens, the drought stuff happens, we can go check on them, make sure they're still okay. They've got anything they need, because there's a lot of people, that is our most vulnerable, I guess, age group is the elderly and the young. And there's a lot of people out there right now that's in that age group that they don't have anybody. If their neighbors isn't looking out for them, they're basically on their own.
So in a nutshell, I think, if I'm stepping out of line, you and Brandon are talking about making that distribution point, and it only makes sense because you have the community club, you have the Selfs Market, and you have the fire hall all right there together. And so the plan is to kind of make that a hub too.
Yes.
For anything and everything when we're dealing with natural disasters. And we talked, our plan, and me and you need to talk about this a little bit maybe after the show or another time. I think we're going to supply them with a 20K generator, one of the military generators that we got from the LISO program, if we've got a good one. It's hit or miss. It's hit or miss when you get those things off that website. They might say that they're in A condition, and they might be parts. Or it might say parts, and you get one that only has 20 hours on it. We sold one last month, a 20K generator that had 11 hours on it. It's a 22-year-old generator with 11 hours on it.
Wow.
The guy that got that, and I know the guy that got it, he got a heck of a generator.
Yes, sir.
For a really, really good deal. But, we need to talk about supplying them once we get this ironed out and we get the paperwork and I'm sure we're going to have some kind of an agreement signed with everybody to get it done. But we can, I think with what the county has and the city has as far as military surplus, lighting, generator. Y'all probably got more than we do now, but we can donate that stuff.
Yeah, and believe it or not, right now, still on deployment from March 3rd of 2023, I've got a Lawrenceburg Police Department tower that's deployed into Lewis County, supporting their communications for their ambulance service. They're having
That's a portable tower?
Yes, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Is it one of them hand cranks? You got to crank it up like the ones on MASH?
It's hydraulic. Hydraulic, I push a button, man. It's sweet.
It is. It's pretty neat.
It makes it be where that we can deploy very, very quickly. What happened up there is the straight line winds came through and broke their tower. Literally, it fell across their, I'm going to say it's a clinic that's there. Fell across the roof of it, destroying their communications into their EMS. We had the request come in, so we deployed the assets up there to them to where their EMS could have communications with their dispatchers.
How long is it going to be before they're back running on their own, Shelton?
Hopefully, I think the information that I've got is in the next 60 to 90 days. The problem is getting authorizations to build it, how the chain of stuff is, and then FEMA's helping on that, on recovering of some cost. So then when you finally get all those okays, and then it's turn around and ordering the equipment. When you get it ordered, all of a sudden you're 12, 24, 36 weeks out on taking delivery. Then you got to get that tower crew to be able to work that, and it's logistically a nightmare for something like that.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that.
It just there's so much more to it, but yeah, having that capability and that with the police department saying yes, I have that, take it and use it. That's been a big deal for me on the emergency management side because that's available to go anywhere. We have that problem happen here. I can deploy those assets in and put them into play.
Did what was it confirmed that went up East Edan?
EF0, 80 85 miles an hour, I think, is what the wind speed was.
Now, all the damage was reported on the east side of 43. Was there any on the west side of 43?
There was some straight line wind damage that happened on the west side of 43. This thing, it's hard to explain. It was dropping a tornado as it came through the West End area. You know, when it comes through there, it's starting as a funnel cloud. This thing took it a little bit to get spun down to the ground. It just happened right about Highway 43. And that ran just on the north side of East Edan out and all the way over to, I think the last place it hit was right, the last building it hit was right there at the county line.
Really?
Yeah, it was a...
So is that where the two barns got leveled? Or
yes.
one barn,
Yes,
one barn
two
portion of
barns. There was several damaged buildings. There's a ring camera video that was out there of the winds, the inflow winds, where it lifts it up and takes it and just destroys a tree with it, and just breaks that building up on the tree. It's interesting what 80-mile-an-hour winds will do.
Yeah. Did we have any injuries?
No injuries.
Any
We got
reported?
lucky, thank goodness. Hopefully that was because of the partnership between the emergency management and the weather service. We were talking to them to get warnings issued, and that thing had a tornado warning. You know, the warnings were out there.
Awesome.
And so, you know, we try our best to get actual factual. These no dice warnings don't, to me, all that does is cause panic and people don't trust it.
What went through Murray County?
I believe that was a 3.
Was it?
That happened, 6 days before?
Mm-hmm.
That storm actually came across the Lawrence, Wayne, Lewis County line over in that section. We were afraid it was going to turn east and come across Summertown, maybe as far south as Weber City.
Just went north, right?
Yeah, we got lucky.
I was at a
We
ball.
really
I was
got
at a
lucky.
ball game in Giles County watching it on my phone.
Well, I went over and we caught it. I say we, the spotter crews that I have out that works for emergency management. They're a great group of volunteers. We caught that thing over. It was still in Wayne County. Carried it across. The last place that I saw it was at the airport there at Mount Pleasant. Snapped a couple of pictures and sent those to the weather service and told them, hey, y'all be watching this thing close. It don't lack much, you know. And sure enough, less than 10 minutes later, it done dropped a tornado. And
So when you was watching it, it hadn't dropped a tornado,
No.
and you put a call in to the National Weather Service and
Yes.
said, watch it.
Funny
It's
story.
pretty impressive.
Wow.
See, y'all don't know how good Shelton is.
Right.
Shelton can look at that stuff on the radar and see it.
Why do you think I
Developing.
call him? Like, let me tell you how much I call this guy.
Well, before you say that, he can be right in the middle. I don't know if you've ever been in that weather room or whatever
Oh,
it's
yeah.
called downstairs. There's like 10 people in there, and him and 3 other people have got 4 or 5 monitors, 27 radios cracking different frequencies. There's so much going on. And if you call him and say, hey, you think it's going to rain,
He'll answer. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
right in the middle of it.
And if you call him enough times, he'll send you updates before you even ask for them. So, funny story. Well, first of all, it's not funny what happened in Murray County. That was that's always a bad day. But 2 days after that, I'm on duty. My wife calls me. She's like, "Oh my goodness, have you been watching the TV? Are you watching the TV, or are you watching the weather, something like that?" I'm like,
I'm in my car, hon.
no,
I'm
that's
just
pretty
kidding.
much about the way it
I
was.
hope she doesn't hate me for making that comment.
no, I
you
mean,
need to tell her that's
well,
just
then
my
she'd be like,
personality
"You've
with
got a
everybody."
laptop there, dummy. Open it
Yeah,
up."
exactly.
But she's like, Columbia is getting hit again, and she said, "Blake, I swear it's in the same spot it did 2 days ago." And I'm like leaning out of my patrol car, and the sun is shining, and I'm like, "Dude, what? No, surely not." So I get on AccuWeather, and it's clear as a bell out there, and I'm like, "Honey, there's no tornado in Columbia." She's like, "I've been sitting here for 35 minutes watching this system come through. It just hit them again." I was like, "Honey, do me a favor. Press pause on the remote and see what date that pops up." phone just goes quiet. Somehow, some way, one of my kids, we DVR'd the weather.
DVR'd it.
One of my kids got on that press.
How old was it?
2 days. 2 days. She watched what we watched. You know.
She's gonna kill you for saying that.
Hey, now listen. Now she's not.
come to the funeral.
She's
Yeah.
got a bachelor's
I
in
mean, I'm
nursing.
sorry,
You're not
any
getting supper or
mother
nothing.
can relate to that because you got a lot going on when you're a mom.
But what's even bad is she sat there for 30 minutes
Oh, I would have probably done the same thing.
before she even called
Most
me.
definitely.
But anyways, funny story. She's smart. She's got a degree, I guess, to prove it.
You're dead, man. You're dead.
Yeah, we'll come to the funeral.
Yeah, you're dead. You're not
I mean,
getting
I do
supper or
stuff like
nothing
that all the
for
time.
like a
What are
month.
you
I
talking
didn't
about?
say it was wrong.
Like a month. You're not
But-
getting nothing. So we don't have any weather coming up for this weekend, right?
Off and on chance of some rain ruining the weekend.
So what about Saturday? Is it clear?
To be honest,
Come on.
Come on, Dan
exactly
Satterfield. What,
I think
what
it's
do you
more
think?
like going to be closer to the beginning of the week before it gets really
Okay.
decent. So, yeah.
Good, because I got to lead the antique car show Saturday morning.
Saturday, yeah, and we're on duty.
Yeah, I called your boss or somebody over there and told them to make sure y'all knew.
Your boss.
We've got to find a few more. But you want to come out and catch some lights for us, Shelton?
I
Yeah.
may be able to do that.
Because I'll only have 3 on duty that day.
We've only got 3. I think I've got 2 or 3
And
constables.
you realize
that are
we
gonna
have
come
10
out.
red lights now on the city.
I know.
On
I know.
Locust.
Yeah.
It's
I know,
crazy.
I know. Them brand new ones. They're at Good Hope and
Motivation.
Motivation. Everybody loves them.
Or East Beasley. Why is
Everybody loves those
There's
lights.
going to be more, so it's fun.
And everybody stops and waits on them to turn green too. I do. Most of the time, I stop and wait on it to turn
You don't get road
green.
rage with him?
I'm
Don't
past road rage. I don't get road rage anymore. My blood pressure
'Cause
gets
he's
up a
old.
little bit. Road rage is when you lose your stuff. I mean, when you snap and you do
We know
something.
what road rage is.
Yeah. No,
You don't have to define it for us.
I'll get aggravated and I probably get more
He probably
aggravated.
drives with like 10 and 2.
I get
Why
more aggravated at the Amish tourists on Buffalo Road
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
day, and on the weekends I've instructed my guys, if you have a call on the weekends and you have to go up Buffalo Road, even if it's not an emergency call, go on ahead and use your lights and sirens, because it is so bad with people traveling Buffalo Road looking for Amish whatever. They will stop in the middle of the road in front of you. They'll be going 20 miles an hour, and they'll get to a sign at the end of an Amish driveway
slam on their
that
brakes.
says sweet corn and lawn furniture and homemade baskets and candles. They'll stop in the middle of the road and read that and then drive off. Well, that happened one day when I wasn't in a very good mood. I'd had not the best day. And I was trying, and I think everybody knows I live on the north end and I travel Buffalo Road all the time. And it wasn't a good day and I wasn't in a good mood. And I got behind this young lady and her boyfriend and probably her parents, maybe her grandparents. I don't know. They were in the back seat doing 20 up Buffalo Road. And had a couple of cars stacked up behind them. And they stopped and was reading some signs, and then they drove off, and then they slowed down, and they sped up, and they almost come to another complete stop. Well, my blood pressure is just going up and up and up and up. So I'm in my patrol car. I got blue lights, so I activated them. Got around the 2 people that were. You can look at it like this. I probably saved their life because the guy behind them was having some serious road rage, and he was probably ready to commit a felony. But anyway, so I got up there and got in behind him and pulled him over. And
He just gave him a stern talking to, probably.
I said, well, the first question out of my mouth was, "What are you doing?" And the young lady, she just looked, 41 Alabama tags.
Right.
They just looked at me. She said, what are you talking about? And I said, what are you doing? She goes, I'm driving. I said, no, you're not. That's not driving.
you're
What you're doing
creeping.
is not driving. What you're doing is causing problems. And I said, have you ever looked in your rearview mirror? She goes, well, I mean, I said, you were sightseeing, right? You were reading Amish signs. That's the reason why you never looked in your rearview mirror, right? You never looked in your rearview. I said, who told you you can drive on Buffalo Road like you're driving? I said, you drive on your road like that in Alabama? No, you don't. You don't stop in the middle of the road on your road in Alabama. Why do you think it's okay to come up here and stop in the middle of the road in Tennessee? I just reamed her. I got done and I said, have a nice day. Do the freaking speed limit.
You said freaking.
And pull off the road if you want to read an Amish sign. Y'all have a nice day. And I left them. And they didn't get a ticket.
Do you think they realized?
I didn't even check their driver's license.
Do you think they realized that you were our sheriff?
Well, I mean, I had a badge on it says sheriff on it. I don't know. At that point, Maddie, I wasn't, I could care less.
They're like, who is this casual guy in this golf cart coming up and scolding
And I hope
me?
they spread the word. And we want people from all over. We want people from Alabama and Mississippi and Kentucky and everywhere else. We want you to come spend your money in Lawrence County and buy Amish stuff. We do. We appreciate your business. Drive the freaking speed limit and get off the road if you want to read an Amish sign. That's all we ask. Wear your seatbelt.
I feel like I just got a lecture.
I'm cool.
I'm like, I won't even go up Buffalo
just
Road
wait
no more.
if I'm ever on Buffalo Road and I'm in front of him.
I'm gonna tell y'all a story. I was leaving the golf course. This has been a long time ago.
Which golf course?
Tommy White was still a trooper.
That was a long
This
time
was
ago.
this was probably in. I was living up on Hannibal Road. This was probably back in the late '90s, and I got behind some Amish looker-atters, and I finally got a little bit of a gap, enough of a straight shot that I could see, and I zipped around them. And I mean, I zipped them. You know how you are when you're trying to get around somebody, and you literally put your foot all the way through the floorboard. You're into that gas. So
I don't do it quite like
you grit
that.
your teeth and you grab the steering wheel because you're mad because you've been behind them and you can't get around. Anyway, right as I get around them, who do I meet? Tommy White. I'm like, dadgummit. And I could see the look on his face.
Like, oh yeah.
When we met. I was looking right at him, and I saw the look on his face that I was getting stopped. Sure enough, I mean, the front of that Crown Vic, it just nosedived, and he spun it around, hit the blue lights, and I pulled off at this jerk pit up there, and I'm sitting there, and I was a young deputy at the time.
Was the first question he asked, "What are you doing?"
Well, he gets out. No, he gets out, and of course, you know, the trooper, they've got their pre-patrol stop stuff that they got to do, adjust their gun belt, adjust their trousers, adjust their tie on their shirt, and make sure their buttons are all snapped and their hats.
And the hat.
Not making fun of any
Right.
highway patrol people, but you know, they gotta make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be before they get out. He walks up and he looks at me. As soon as he looks at me, he recognizes me, and he says, "Why are you going so fast?" And I said, the freaking 41 Alabama people were doing 12, and I finally got around them. He laughed, and he said, we should put a tow road up at the county line and charge them when they come up here to look at that. And then he walked off. And that was all he said. But even then, he knew it was a problem. So I'm not the only one that got upset about the sightseers.
Is that? I mean, is
Tourists.
that bring back bad memories or something?
Something.
It's
He's
like he
got
needs
some
he
PTSD
needs a
there
hug or
somewhere.
something.
He's just lived in that area so long. I think it's just built up over the years.
And I don't want anybody to think that I'm not a fan of the Amish, because I've been a fan of the Amish community in this county for a really long time. They're great people. They generate a lot of revenue here. But the horse crap, I think that needs to be a C felony. If your horse craps on the pavement and you don't get out and just push it off the side of the road, I think it's a C. I think it ought
we're
to
in
be
the
a C
South,
felony.
Sheriff. Good.
You talk to a guy that just cleaned up his $50,000 22-foot bass boat, and he hits a fresh pile of it, and it slings it all over his boat. Go talk to one of them guys.
They probably
I don't
called
think
him
I know
to
anybody with a
complain.
$50,000 boat.
Boy, daggum,
I do,
14-foot
but-
flat bottoms, 50,000 now.
I mean,
Hey, did
we
y'all-
had a conversation about pontoon boats like 2 weeks ago and how much they cost.
100,000.
Well, like I said, I don't know anybody that's got one. I know
I
the
told
boats
you
are out
somebody
there.
that has one, and you knew them.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know many people, but anyways.
Back on track. I see. I have a tendency to do that. I get off on a little
Now
bit of
that
a
we
rant.
talked about the Amish and their visitors for 20
How did we get
minutes.
from freaking weather radar to to Amish crap? I don't either. Y'all made another arrest, right? And that murder on the Summit. That Summit murder.
Yes, there was the Sharon Gillespie murder. There was another indictment that came down from the Lawrence County Grand Jury, and a young lady was arrested as a co-conspirator, a co-defendant, however you want to say it. So now there are 2 people that are currently awaiting a trial for Sharon Gillespie's murder, and her family is, just excited that we. Well, I say we. I had no part in the arrest. I had a part in the investigation up front. That was before I left CID and went back to patrol. But yeah, good day. Whenever you see, there's a lot of, like the old saying goes in law enforcement, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove in court. And, as a detective, when you know that there was somebody else involved, but you really can't put your hands on that person, get an interview with that person, or, some other factors that are intertangled in that, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Sure it
because,
is.
You lay in bed at night and you're like, I know this other person was involved. How in the world am I going to be able to prove it?
And you have to build a case.
Mm-hmm.
You have to build a case because it's going to be picked apart in court.
Yep.
And I think that's what most people don't understand is we can't just go, we're not going to go just get somebody on hearsay and interview them if they committed a crime like a four-wheeler theft. And you get a call from somebody and they say, hey, I just heard so-and-so was the one that stole that four-wheeler. And that's it.
Right.
Word on the street.
Right.
Well, that's not enough. No, that's not enough. I wish it was, but it's not.
So,
But
yeah,
you-
the guys...
we go through the same things here with, like, our news stories. So, like, if it's posted on Facebook, people will be like, I wonder why WLX is not reporting it. So, like, Facebook is not a tool where we get verified news. Like,
What?
when it comes
Come on,
to
man. You know
Since
Facebook.
arrests
Everything
and
on Facebook
crashes and
is
things
real.
like that, we contact our local authorities, and that's how we get our news. We have to have, and some things we wait for permission to post before we post.
Y'all
it.
do a good job. I will say that. Molly
Yeah.
does a great job with the news. If I give her something and I tell her, don't put this, and this in the story, she does a great job about it because there's some stuff that we don't want to get out
Right.
because it can set us back on an investigation.
And that kind of had a little play in to this Gillespie case. There was some stuff.
That was a high-profile case.
It was.
Yeah, that was a high-profile case. That was getting a lot of publicity.
The guys they did a fantastic job. There was times that you just wanted to throw your hands up and be like, "There's nothing else we can do," but they stayed with it, yeah, it finally came together. Took 2 years?
Something like that.
That's a long time. That's a long time to know something, and not have affirmation.
Right.
And a conclusion to go along with it. So, yeah, kudos to them guys. They did a good job. 2 people are now fixing to have to face the music and possibly pay their debt to society. So I look forward to that.
I was telling y'all a little bit before we got started, before we went live. Every Monday morning we come in and sit down, me and the command staff sit down and go over the week prior. We go over the reports that were generated over the weekend, look at what kind of crimes has been going on, get a plan together for the rest of the week, go over our schedules. Monday is our day to put out fires, handle complaints, schedule the week, all that good stuff. So I'm sitting there Monday morning, and I'm going over the reports, and I don't read them word for word. I kind of look at what it is and where it happened, and we had sex crimes. Sex crimes was what I saw that we were dealing with over the weekend and during the week prior. And I won't go into detail. I'll just tell you there's some sick individuals in this county that, in my opinion, don't even need to be breathing up good air.
I agree.
But, and I could fix it if the system would let me, but they won't. Anyway, I'll give you a little bit of information about the one. So this idiot, and I'm going to call him an idiot because he is an idiot, he decided to send a friend request to a 17-year-old boy that he had met earlier in the day or the day before. And this 17-year-old boy, he accepts the friend request, and then the 40-something-year-old guy, he sends him an instant message. And then it goes back and forth, and then and it's pretty benign starting out, but then it starts to it gets suspect, and then I think the 40-something-year-old guy asks the 17-year-old, "Are you on Snapchat? Do you have Snapchat?" And he says yes. So he gives him his handle or code or whatever it's called, and
What is it? I don't even have
your
Snapchat.
handle. Yeah, that's from the old days. So anyway, they link up on Snapchat. Well, as soon as they get on Snapchat, it goes from.
Oh, it probably escalates quickly.
Yeah, and so a call comes in to the deputies on shift, and it goes to this female deputy I got, and she's just a very solid deputy. I mean, she's sharp as a tack. She does a great job. Well, all of them do, but she gets this call from dispatch, and it was dispatched as a possible assault with a cell number for the deputy to call the complainant. So the deputy calls the complainant. It's the 17-year-old, and he proceeds to tell her what's going on. You know, look, this guy sent me a friend request. I accepted it, and then it turned into this. So they go to his house, and they look at his phone, and he's keeping up with everything, and she's able to confirm everything he's saying because it's still on his phone. So she contacts one of my investigators, which is another female, does an awesome job, and they hook up. And they start posing as the 17-year-old using his phone and communicating with this guy.
Fantastic.
And it goes from 0 to 90 at that point. Some explicit pictures are sent from this guy. He's wanting to trade some sexual favors for something or whatever. And he knows this kid's 17. So they set him up to meet at a store. This idiot gets to this store thinking he's hooking up with a 17-year-old, and he runs into two pissed off
Women
Lawrence County
deputies.
sheriff's deputies,
Women at that.
and it ended very bad for him. I watched the body camera footage, and I'm fist pumping as I'm watching it. So anyway, he went to jail. We towed his car, seized his phone. They sent his phone off to get a forensic dump done on it to find out
there was multiple.
what all he's been doing and who all he's been in contact with. And we'll be going to the grand jury with him probably next month to drop a bomb on him.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was one of those. I mean, it's a for people that don't think that this stuff is in our little community, it is. I mean, it is. Those type of predators are out. They're everywhere, even in small town. I would love to be able to tell people, no, we don't have that in Lawrence County, but we do. It's like every other county does. Every other metropolitan area, every small town across the nation has people like this. And he thought that he could communicate on a cell phone and not get caught. I don't know what this idiot was thinking. Evidently he wasn't. But anyway, He went to jail, and he'll be getting some more stuff. But it was a really cool story, and a funny part to it was, so I'm watching, and she's probably going to watch this, and she'll probably have something to say about me telling this story. But I'm watching the body camera footage, and she's sitting in her car, she's driving, so you can see her hand. She's got in her hand the kid's, the 17-year-old's phone, because she's still in contact with the perpetrator, right? Setting him up. And she's driving at the same time. Now, we're exempt for people that say, well, y'all ain't supposed to be texting and driving or whatever. We're exempt from that if we're on duty and we're on official business. You know,
Yeah.
we can do that.
If you're trying to catch a pedophile, it's legal.
Sure. So she's driving, and she's also talking to the other investigator on her speaker, on her car speaker. So she's got like 3 things going on. She's driving, she's texting the dude, and she's talking to the other investigator. And I've talked to my deputies about how you gotta maintain that professionalism when your body camera's on. How you gotta watch your language. There's no horseplay, you know, because every incident where you're recording it most likely will be played in an open courtroom, and you don't want to do something or say something or anything. Now, the courts have given us a little bit of leeway on our language, because they understand that when your adrenaline's up and you're in a situation, you don't even really remember what you're saying. So they've given us some leeway, but still, you know, you kind of got to watch what you say. So she's hauling butt to get to this location where this guy is meeting them. And like I said, she's talking to the investigator, and her thumb's going on her phone, and she's driving. And out of the blue, she drops the biggest F-bomb you've ever heard. And she says, I just run over a skunk on the way. And it was the funniest thing you ever heard in your life. And you know what? It's probably not going to look the best in court, but who cares? I mean, it's like you said, they were catching a piece of garbage,
Right?
You know, so.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a funny story. But yeah, we had a couple more that we're dealing with too, and it's sad to say that we have this stuff in our community. And I could fix it if they would let me. When I say they, I'd say the judicial system. But
Well, I've said it before. One of my daddy's biggest phrases was, "We've got everything Nashville has, just on a smaller scale." And that's the truth. I mean, from crackheads to pedophiles, to felons to really good people, we've got them all.
right. We also had a overdose day before yesterday, or was it yesterday? No, it was the day before yesterday. I heard the call go out. I was actually at the house, kicked back, and I heard the call go out as a 1065. People that don't know what a 1065 is, it's a dead body. And the dispatcher was relaying information to the deputies on the way that it was a female that called it in, and she said she didn't want to get close. She didn't want to get close to the dead body. Mm-hmm. And the dispatcher's trying to tell her, well, can you just go up and maybe see if there's a pulse or what? And she just kind of refused. So we didn't really know what we were getting into. And I heard somebody come over the radio, and it might have been a firefighter or somebody, but they come over the radio and said they were close, so they was going to go. And he got there, and it was just maybe 2 or 3 minutes later, he come back over and said, yeah, it's 1065. He's already stiff. So it turned out to be a person that we're familiar with, and right now, that's what it looks like. I don't want to say that's what it is for sure, but the preliminary investigation is a possible overdose. But we're good for probably 5 a year overdose deaths. You know, if we didn't have Narcan, how many overdose deaths would we have a year if we didn't have Narcan?
Oh my gosh. So funny story. Tommy Farmer, who is the director of what I still refer to as the Meth Task Force, now it's the Dangerous Drugs Task Force. it was probably about 2 years ago. He called me and was like, Grimsey, what do I have to do?
Grimsey?
Yeah. He said, what do I have to do to get your people to start reporting stuff? And I'm like, Tommy, what are you talking about, buddy? He's like, I'm talking about overdose. And I'm like, okay. He's like, there's nobody in Lawrence County, and this might have been 3 years ago, reporting overdoses. And I was like, well, Tommy, we don't hardly have any overdoses. He's like, that amazes me because Murray County is like this many, and Giles County is this many, and Marshall County is this many. He said even Lewis County has got several. And I'm like, I'm telling you, we are still what I titled, we are still a meth county. We don't have that many overdoses yet. And I mean, it was like, I know more came back from CID to the street, and it was like somebody turned on a switch. I mean, easily, I don't know, for us, 3 a week.
That may be something we need to add.
Hold
to
on, I've got
We
my
do,
stats
but
right
here's we have to sit down with our Marty or somebody at 911 to get, because I get in that report, but so, Shelton, you might know this. Do you know if EMS or fire or somebody administers Narcan, do they call that in on the radio?
No, they typically won't. I know some of, and I'm saying this is working as a reserve. I know some of our people say this much has been administered to let EMS know. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, the only reason we don't have the death rate is the dedication and the teamwork that goes on out there between the different services that are responding to these calls.
Yeah.
You know, these guys work hand in hand together with different job descriptions, and it doesn't matter. It's all about keeping that person alive. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a number out there where they can tell you
Well,
how many times Narcan was distributed.
It's unreal how much Narcan's used.
Just by EMS.
So it looks like in the
Lawrence
past
County.
2 weeks, maybe we had 5.
Now these are these are accidental overdoses, right?
Yes,
these
are
aren't
not
intentional.
these are not successful. Well, I say they're not.
They're not suicide attempts.
Right, and that's something else. Is I don't hear that much of the suicide attempts by opiates anymore. Generally speaking, all the overdose calls that we go on are accidental for the most part.
Is it still fentanyl?
Well, I say accidental. They knowingly take a certain amount.
Yeah, but they don't know when they take it, it's going to kill them,
Right,
most likely.
right.
They don't know the potency of what they're taking.
From one time to the next. So they're knowingly trying to meet that high that they got the last time. Mm-hmm. But yes, I can sit here and say 99% of all the overdoses that my group responds to are accidental. They're not trying to die. They're just trying to get that high. And it's crazy, just like you said with that story about Dracula rising up, from the ground and everything. It's crazy because they can be that blemished, purplish, pink color. I mean, clammy, and you hit. I like to give them at least 2. Okay. One, wait just a few seconds, nothing. Go ahead and hit them with another because it ain't going to hurt them. But man, when it kicks in, when they start to open up in my eyes and they're like, "Why is the police here?"
They were dead.
Does every law enforcement officer and EMS officer
Pretty
carry
much.
that?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
It is such an epidemic right now that the health department, if you walk in out there, and I'm saying this based off of a couple of weeks old information, if you walk in out there and tell them you'd like to have some free Narcan, there's no questions asked, and they'll give you.
Well, I know
two-dose
that
packet.
LSAP had a class in the parking lot, I want to say, here to teach anybody that wanted to know how to distribute Narcan.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can't picture how many lives that's been saved by that. The bunch that's out there that's pushing that stuff, and the health department's got some stuff. You can go out there if you just walk in and see them. They don't ask you any questions.
That's
Yeah.
good.
That
They don't.
know,
But the thing is, when they come to,
Oh man,
yeah, the the hardcore drug addicts, they're mad,
yep. You
you
just
know.
run a good high.
and you can't.
Well, that and you can't get high for a while.
Yeah,
You know, if I was dead, and you brought me back to life, I'd be hugging your neck.
Know, but
Right.
did they
Yeah.
know they
If-
were dead?
No, they don't ever know. All they know is. they
But
woke
when you
up
wake
from a
up
great
and there's
high.
10 people standing around you and a guy's got freaking Narcan in his hand, that's a pretty good indicator you was dead.
Especially if it's a
And
cough.
all you got to do is just, I would be thinking, well, this is my second chance. This is
Yeah.
a second
Yeah,
chance.
this
If there's
is
ever
it.
such a thing as a second chance, I just got one. So I'm going to quit doing everything and live right and do right and turn my life around. No, they're mad. They're mad at you because you stole their eye.
Right, and you just send them into immediate detox.
We've Narcan the same idiot twice in the same weekend.
so
Same person.
The national average, if I'm not mistaken, is right now 9 times.
Nine times
what?
Our opiate and fentanyl addicts. The national average right now is 9 times before it's successful.
Well, I'll tell you how bad
That's
it
a
is
high
and
number.
what it's doing to them. My son's a medic. Used to work for one of the other county's ambulance services, and he's literally had them get up out of the back of the ambulance and hit the door with the ambulance moving.
Jump out.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you picture this person being at that state?
He said, I
to
got
where
a
they're
guy.
hitting you with Narcan.
I got a guy bring me an 8-ball in 30 minutes. I got to get back to my
I
house.
gotta go. You know.
Well, I mean, they might be thinking if the dope didn't kill me, 65 miles an hour won't either.
No
I mean,
kidding.
there is-
What time? How much time we got?
We got about 3 minutes.
We need to go over some stats. I got stats, Blake.
I got stats too, Sheriff.
When did you get them?
I just logged
Pulled
in.
them off on your illegal phone?
No, I don't-
Illegally. You was just questioning whether it was legal, and you never.
Shelton
did.
said it was okay.
I seeked advice. I didn't question
I
nothing.
said it for you.
Shelton, guess how many calls we had for the month of May?
Oh Lordy, that's gonna be a pretty good number. 'Cause it was busy.
Well,
Quite busy.
Well, I'll tell you, we average around 1,000. It's we've seen it range from the 900s to the 1200s. So it's like the price is right, man. You get to play with my switchblade comb if you get it right.
I don't know. I'm gonna be way high. I bet it's up there 12, 13.
What's your what are you saying?
Yeah, 12, 1300.
Like 1213?
Yeah.
Like 1213?
No, 1200 or 1300.
Well,
Somewhere
you-
in that 100 range.
You got to pick a number. You can't range it.
Oh,
Oh, he's-
no.
come on, he's
Let's go,
Shelton.
let's go 1250.
1150. You was
It's
100
so
off.
close.
That was
Which-
a pretty.
So,
If you would
y'all-
have
I
got it
don't
within
get to
100, you
participate
could have combed
'cause-
your hair with the
Yeah, I went
switchblade
over it.
comb.
Y'all had 55 more calls than we did.
Oh, you really?
We
Yeah,
had 50 wrecks.
Whew.
Yeah.
Well, I got those numbers here. Hold
That's
on.
crazy.
Crazy wrecks.
Yeah, and we had
that
some.
y'all
And,
That
and
was
thank
just-
y'all again.
Hey, y'all
Shelton.
worked more wrecks this month than what y'all usually do.
I'll see your 1046 MVA and raise you a 45 with no injuries. 33.
Y'all had 33.
Yeah, and I mean that's
Yeah.
high for them.
That's and no slam against the sheriff's office, but
We don't work wreck.
that's it.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
y'all
that's
can-
a lot.
We just go and look
Show
cool.
up, help, and
Jack traffic.
Put your vest
Lord.
on and stand there and look cool. That's what
Hey, listen,
deputies
I
do.
got such a good
Anybody
group.
can be a
Ask him
city
his
officer.
animal calls this month
What's
because
your-
it was way up.
what's your animal calls?
51.
Are you serious? 51. Goodness gracious.
51 animal calls.
We had 30 animal calls.
But y'all don't have any cows in the road in the city.
Well, but we got dead animals.
I need an animal control deputy.
Hold on just a minute. strike that, we had 27 animal abuse calls.
Holy moly.
So take that into consideration, and now we've got
And then I'll raise
53.
you
Yeah, over 50.
I got a call yesterday from somebody wanting to know if there was a county-wide leash law, and I said it's a statewide state law. So I sent them the 44 code, the TCA 44 code. It goes from I may have already deleted it. It goes from like 44.8, 401 all the way up to 412, I think. Yeah, 44.8, 401 to 44.8, 415 or something. If you want some entertainment, sit down and read some of those laws that are on the books. It's the funniest stuff you'll ever read. Trust me. Sit down. 44.8, 401 to 415. It's some good entertainment. We arrested 175 people last month. Served 317 criminal papers, or civil papers, I'm sorry. It wasn't as busy as the month before,
It's because you got all
but
them.
we got more animal calls.
You got all those papers served the 2 months prior.
We arrested the crap out of people in April and May. But
We had
anyway.
55 welfare checks.
Oh,
We get
wow.
a lot of them too. People get worried
And
about somebody and they want
Probably
us to go make sure
45
they're
of
all
them
right.
was on the same 2 individuals. Goodness gracious, they're wearing us out. But
Is
anyway.
that down there below the square?
Yeah. Up here around Taco Bell. God love them.
All right,
All right, everybody say bye.
we're out. We'll
Bye-bye.
see you next time.
Fantastic. Good to see you over there, TJ Jefferson. Candles lit.
Candles lit. It was Mama Jefferson's birthday on the 4th. I didn't give her a shout out on the show, but I did send a plant. So
Hey, great. Fantastic.